All right, hey everybody, going to try something a little different for our Friday update number 25 intro interview. Billy Rainford here from Direct Motocross. We've got number 25 honoree. We've got Tyler Gibbs all the way from BC. Tyler Gibbs, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing really good.
Nice, nice. Now, it feels like we just did this because I know we did just talk about the fact that you're not in Salt Lake City racing and you wanted to be. And of course, we'll touch on that a little bit like we did last time. But let's start off at the beginning, kind of like we always do. We kind of did it again, but for people who didn't see the last interview, let's talk a little bit about you. Where are you right now?
Right now, I'm back home in Canada. Back in February, I raced Supercross San Diego, and I was race that one, and then I was gonna do Seattle and Salt Lake and Vegas, or probably just Salt Lake and Seattle. But then coronavirus happened. Had to come home. They put out a new schedule. Was unable to cross the border to get in to race, so had to wait till next year.
Right now, the funny thing is, like when you saw all those 7 rounds in Salt Lake City, I know I talked to your dad, Paul Gibbs, and he was like, "Awesome, that'd be sweet, man. You could stay there, save a bunch of money, and just race." But then it's like, well, actually, unfortunately, no, you can't.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be easier because I wouldn't have to go anywhere. I could just ride there, and it'd be way less money.
Yeah, it's too bad. Too bad that didn't work out. Yeah, so you mentioned. Well, let's back up even more again. So where you're in BC, where is home for you exactly in BC?
Mission, BC. So
Mission,
I'm like an hour and a half from Vancouver.
Right. How close are you to the track? Mission.
Mission track's like 20 minutes, not even.
Okay.
So it's nice and close.
You're right across the river from Abbotsford, right across from old James Listamore. You can throw a rock and hit him.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you do the Tuesday night rides there a lot, the races?
They just opened back up, and we've only got to ride twice because like last week the weather was really bad, so we didn't get to ride. But the tracks open up again, and it's actually really good. They finally made some changes after like the track being the same for like 6 years. They finally decided to make it good again. So yeah, the track's been really good.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Now you mentioned they are opening up for racing again. How is the situation out there? Because I know we just had the first local race at Gopher Dunes this past weekend, and a ton of people showed up because everybody's just going stir crazy. What's the scene like out in BC right now?
I think as far as I know, it's good. I think we're better than, I'm not saying we're better than Ontario, but like our cases I think are lower. From what I've been told, I haven't really been looking at it, but we could have racing, but I don't think we're going to because I think the city still wants to keep it like all of BC. They want to keep it down more. Like they don't want to have any big gatherings over like 200 people or something. So we probably won't be racing until like, I don't even know when. We'd be lucky if we even get to race this summer. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, I know it's tough. Sorry, yeah, we don't need to get into specifics about the whole coronavirus case numbers and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'd never put you on the spot like that. But so my other favorite question I always ask, and I know you answered this last time, but I like the question of how kids choose their first ever racing number. What was your first race number?
I think it was this. I'm not sure what it was back then, what the sanction was, but they just gave me number 46, and then I just stuck with that ever since. And then when I went intermediate, I put a 1 in front of it, and then I ended up getting 25 for this year. So yeah.
Okay, 25. Do you like the number 25? Some people do, some people don't. It's kind of a tough
one. It looks all right.
Who's the most famous 25 you know? You're probably not thinking Bob Hanna like I'm thinking.
No, Muscan probably.
Oh yeah, Marvin Muscan. Sure, he's a little 25. More up to date than my Bob Hanna reference.
Yeah, that's all I know who really runs 25. Can't really think of anyone else.
Besides your buddy Casey Keast, Ross Johnson.
Casey ran it last year. So I kind of wish I would have got like something a little bit different because I saw Casey a lot last year, and it was just like he rode a Yamaha, so I know what my bike's gonna look like with 25 on it. It's still like awesome. I got that high up or like that number for the year, but it's kind of like I already know what it's gonna look like on my bike because I see Casey all the time. So yeah.
That's funny. Well, let's actually talk about last year since we're both here. Oh, by the way, this interview is brought to you because you're an FXR kid. I went with my FXR shirt, and because it had the Canadian flag on it, I thought I'd find the old I got all this stuff in order to go to the Motocross of Nations, which you didn't go to. So I've got all this Canada gear sitting here, so I thought I'd throw it on there. But anyway, thanks to FXR for always all the support they've given
Yeah.
motocross over the years, blah blah blah, stuff like that. But yeah, so last year, Arena Cross, what you got? You got 12, 7, 8, 7 in the Arena Cross series last year.
Yeah. It was all right. Like I switched from Yamaha to Cowie right before I went to California. So only like a month on a Cowie, and then I didn't ride my race bike. I rode my race bike for 20 minutes at my house before I went and raced Abbotsford. So I didn't really have much time on it. And I'm not saying it like I'm not making any excuses. I'm just saying that it was a bit different because I'm used to the Yamaha indoors. And Abbotsford, Mudfest, couple me and Springman got into it, both went down. But it is. And then Calgary, it was all right. And then the two other ones just not riding like myself. So yeah, a little rough, but it is what it is.
Yeah, no, it's cool though because you got to you cruise across the whole country. Talk about the crew. You guys had a fun crew, and I'm going to have to talk about the music here in a second. But talk about your crew and you had a good group.
Yeah, it was so after Prince George, my dad helped me for the first two rounds, Calgary and Prince George, and then Kevin Urquhart, he came up and he took me across, and then we ended up Taryn Gerber was going across and Davey. So we kind of just and Amiot's, but we ended up just following them to all the races. And then we stayed at Amiot's and we rode a bunch of sand during that month off we had to get ready for Gopher. So we had a good group of people to go with. So definitely made for a fun summer.
Yeah, I mean, if people do or don't know that group you just mentioned, you probably couldn't find much of a better crew to be hanging out with for sure.
Yeah.
Except I've got to ask you this one question: who is the first guy that put Nickelback on, and why did it stay going on?
I don't know. I know, and like my take, I don't know. I listen to a lot of like rap music, and I know Kevin doesn't like that stuff, so he would like play all different kinds of music. Like when we hopped in the van, I never got the aux cord. I always had to just sit there and listen to whatever he had to play. And then I remember one time Nickelback came on, he's like, and then ever since then, everyone was just playing Nickelback at every race. I was like, oh. So one of those guys got it started, but yeah.
Every time I'd walk anywhere near you guys, someone would go throw it on and turn it up, and I'm like,
yeah.
Sorry, that's why I couldn't.
Yeah, and then at Walton, I think it was maybe Walton or maybe it was Moncton. It started playing on the big speaker, and we were dying laughing when that came on. I don't know, like if someone just like purposely did it or just came on, but I remember everyone was just laughing when it came on.
Well, I'm gonna find out who's responsible for that, and they're fired.
Yeah.
It's just fun to make fun. I don't want any lawsuits coming against me for digging on these guys, but yeah, their music career is doing better than mine, so I can't say much.
Yeah.
Okay, now motocross season. What'd you have? Your top you made a top 10 at the one. I guess that's is it the mud race?
I got 12th at what was that track called? McNabb Valley, and then two people got docked, so I got 10th. But at Walton, I got a 10th place. Sandali, I got a 12th in the one moto. Yeah. It was a bit of up and down summer. I don't know. I need to be really, I don't know. I think I was putting too much pressure on myself because the year before I raced as an intermediate, I raced Prince George. And I know it was a mud race. It was kind of muddy, but like I qualified 7th because it was, I got lucky. But then in the track was good, and I got 12th. And I got 10th or 12th, I think. 10th or 12th, I can't remember. So my expectations were I need to be, if I'm not inside the top 10, I'm like, what am I doing? And I think I was pushing myself too hard, and I kept crashing. Like I was like, I needed to just be like, okay, if I get 12th or 15th, I need to be okay with that because last year's class wasn't near as stacked as this, like in 2018. The class wasn't near as stacked as 2019 season. Like last year, there were so many guys. There was like 8 guys who were on a team. So I needed to just be like, okay, if I get 12th, that's good. Let's just keep that. I kept going, I'd I sucked at gopher. I went like 27, 26. And then I'd go to the next race. I'd go 15, 12. And then I couldn't find a steady thing, but definitely worked on that during this, after the summer and stuff. I've been working on just trying to be a consistent guy every weekend.
And with, I mean, you know, at the pro level and stuff like that and traveling the whole circuit, you kind of end up, well, not always, I mean, at that level, when you're out there and you're going with such drastically different results, like, are you out there and you see a certain rider number and you're like, no, man, I'm faster than this guy, or, you know what I mean? Like, are you going,
That, yeah, definitely there's a couple people, it was definitely making me mad, but then I was like, I gotta remember, I haven't rode any track besides Walton, and I rode Walton once, and with that rule last year where you couldn't ride the track with, I think it was 72 hours before the race or whatever, it kind of was hard. So I rode Gopher like 3 times, and then I rode Sandalye once, and then Moncton I rode 1 time. Like, I didn't have any time, and a lot of people who I know, people like, oh, I don't ride those tracks all the time, but it's like, you guys have been there enough. It's like, if there's a weekend race, a lot of those guys go and race them. For me, I'm like, I've never even did this before. So I feel like that was I struggle a bit with like just learning the track and stuff. Like, it takes me, I need to be better with learning the track right away. And that kind of hurt me, not knowing the tracks and like the heat and all that stuff. So that kind of played a factor in with my results.
Right. Well, I mean, you just mentioned trying to learn the tracks fast. Being, I know your future, you want your future to be in the Supercross, the indoor world. You know how important that is, learning tracks fast, right?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely worked on that because when we went to San Diego, I was jumping stuff second lap, and that was probably the scariest thing I've ever done. So, yeah.
Now, say, okay, if you were alone on a Supercross track, you probably wouldn't have done them all in the second lap. Were you just like facing off the top guys? Like, is that how you do it? Just
yeah. So we walked the track, and Kevin's like, you got to go, like, there's this, you did like this, the Supercross triple, you did a double, and you went left, and you had to go 2-3. He's like, second lap. And I'm like, what do you mean second lap? It's like, you got to do it second lap. And I think it was Devin Harriman was in front of me, and he just held it wide open, and I just held it wide open behind him, and away I went. And I was like, I've never been so scared after, like, I was shaking after the first practice because, like, my adrenaline was just going to the roof because I'm like, I'm not usually, you know, you go there, you check the section out, you do, you know, double, and then you kind of figure it out. You just had to go for it. So it was definitely good to learn tracks faster because when you ride Supercross, you got to do everything second lap pretty much.
Right. In the future, when you do the Supercrosses, it won't be those Supercross triples and things because they're pretty much 70 feet, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's the rhythms that are going to get you, obviously, right?
The rhythms are the scariest. Like, I remember Kevin's just like, you got to do it, like, second, third lap. I'm like, are you sure I can't just wait a couple more laps? He's like, no. And I remember the guy in front of me just went for it. So I'm like, well, if he makes it, I made it, and I made it good. And I was like, wow, it's pretty gnarly.
Yeah. Obviously, the more experience you get, the more you'll be comfortable out there. I mean, those guys are doing it first laps, right? Those guys, craziness.
Yeah, crazy for sure.
All right, now let's talk like briefly about the last couple, the Supercross races. I mean, like in Canada, we're talking here. How did those go? Where I see a 17-11.
Montreal, it wasn't that good at all. I thought the track was going to be more Supercross like last year. I heard my friend Berg raced it, and he told me that it was really gnarly. And then I remember Wyatt was telling me, you know, it was actually Supercross and all that. And like Quinn and everyone's like, yeah, it's going to be really good. And I show up there and I'm like, and it wasn't what I thought it was going to be like. And to be honest, I think the track just sucked. They shouldn't have let the quads and the Dumongies go there. It just made it hard. It was blue groove. I didn't gel with it at all. They made the whoops way too big. They made it just wasn't. I was not vibing with the track at all. It was not good.
All right, talk to Jess Pettis about having the quad, the VTTs and stuff on the tracks too, right? With that first turn.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they should have just kept it, made it the whole arena, made it full Supercross, and it would have been sick. But instead, they had to bring in the buggies and the quads, which was kind of lame. But you know, they gotta do what they have to do.
Yeah, trying to fill the seats, right? Getting more people in there. Montreal's always been known to have the VTTs and all that kind of stuff for sure. One year, before your time, they had like a woods race in there even.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Do you remember seeing that?
Maybe that'd be crazy.
And an Euro mixed in. Okay. So okay, so you traveled the whole circuit. What's your favorite track on our circuit?
I like Deschamps. I think it's Deschambault. That's how I think how you say it. I like
Yeah.
that track. That track is so sick. The first day we rode there, it was super dusty. I don't know why they didn't water all day, so it was like really dry, and I still liked it. And then on pro day, it poured rain, and it was the most fun I've ever had. Like, that track is awesome. And Walton's really good, and Sandley. Those are my three favorite.
Oh yeah, so you
Really?
like the eastern ones.
Yeah, those are my three favorite tracks. But Deschambault, the hills and everything, I just felt like this is cool.
Seems like real moto. Were you doing the big
Yeah.
the huge double?
No, I chickened out. I didn't do that. I was like, no way. So it's
No,
big. It doesn't look that big on video, but when you ride it and you have to when you have to roll into that hill thingy, if there was a jump before you dropped in, like you could just fall off of it, it'd be super easy. But since you have to like go slow off of it and then pick your speed up, it's like it's big. Like it's big.
Right, because you jump too far down that hill, you're not going to have enough.
You lose all your speed.
You got to grab as many gears. Yeah. Actually, that's why I stood at the very bottom and tried to take the photos up so you can kind of get a sense of how high it was. But
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it looks good when you make it nicely. But yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, what other sports do you play?
Nothing really besides moto. I ride 110s all the time. A mountain bike. I like mountain biking. That's my go-to. I go mountain biking a lot. So, but I don't really play any sports.
You're in the mountains. You don't snowboard or ski?
Oh yeah, I snowboard. I snowboard and I have a snow bike, but I only got to ride it a couple times. It was in California, but I definitely like snowboarding. I'm pretty good at that.
All right. Yeah, it seems like seems like everybody that. How about road bikes? Like, are you turning yourself into a cyclist or what?
I just got a road bike like 2 weeks ago, so I'm starting to get into that. Just gotta. It's good for like the long, my long rides and stuff. So, getting better at that.
Okay. Now, okay, we talked about the music. Now, are you a fan? Is it Melrose Place or 9021? Oh, wait a second. This is from my JSR list of questions. I'm kidding. Sorry, that was corny. I wrote that in there as a joke. I'm trying over here, Tyler.
It's all good.
All right. So who you came up obviously through the Future West program? You love the indoor stuff. Who'd you come up rubbing elbows with? Like, who's your biggest rival?
Probably Jacob Piccolo. We've been racing since like 50s, and me and him go back and forth all the time. And we raced Casey a little bit, but he kind of we raced him only on 85s and super minis, and he kind of like went pro pretty early. I'm pretty sure. Like he was on a big bike before me and Jacob were, but me and Jacob, we raced every weekend, every Future West, every local race. Me and Jacob would race every time, and yeah, he's probably my biggest rival for sure.
Okay, yeah, okay. I was gonna say I always tell this story about Jacob. I mean, he's probably sick of me telling it, but I came out to a race at Chilliwack outdoors. Remember that year they did that outdoor race? You would have been on little bikes then too.
Yeah, it was like I kind of remember it wasn't like that horse track thing. It was inside that, I think.
Well, no, it was outside around, and you probably remember Honeymoon Suite played. I'm kidding. You don't remember Honeymoon Suite, but they did play. But I think he was on. I don't know if he was super minis or he might have been on 65s. But Spencer Knowles was doing this crazy thing out of a corner, and you jumped and landed.
Oh yeah. And you went right, and there's a gnarly double.
Yeah. And he was doing it on his little bike.
Yeah.
And like most of the pros weren't doing it.
Yeah, he's definitely gnarly for sure.
No matter how far out front he was still going for that. It's like, dude, you really don't need to be doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, what about when you were coming up? Did you do big American amateur nationals?
I raced World Minis. I got 10th overall in the 65 class there. I raced Mammoth. I got like a 10th or a 12th in 65s there, and I got like a 14th in 85s. I would have went to the Frid'Eh. All I had to do was one more lap. I would have got my ticket, and I broke my femur on the last lap. So like all I had to do was just half a lap, and I would have got my ticket, and just got all squirrely off a freaking roller, and I broke my femur. So didn't get to do that. I've done Walton like 2 times, but US stuff is kind of hard just because it costs a lot of money. So besides recently it's just been futures. Has been my big things I've been doing
Oh yeah, well, for sure.
before I race Supercross.
You know, you mentioned your femur. How's your little brother Travis doing with his situation there?
He's doing better. He's doing a lot better. He went in. He's been in the hyperbaric chamber like pretty much every day, so he's good now. He's still like on crutches and all that, but he's definitely doing a lot better. He can get around with like no help. Like he can get up by himself. He can get into bed. He can go down the stairs. He can go outside. He took us 110 for a spin up and down the road.
I was gonna say I
Like,
saw that.
I don't think my mom was too happy about that, but he had to try it. So yeah, he just I think it's like 2 weeks. He goes to the doctors and they are gonna see if he can put pressure on it because when he broke it, there's like I don't really know the whole thing. I just know there's something that needs to be like is kind of weak still, so they're gonna figure that out. But he's definitely doing better.
Okay. For those who are watching, he didn't do it racing motocross. He did it on his
No,
bicycle, right?
not,
It was
yeah. So
that growth there that made it weaker and stuff like that.
yeah, he literally it wasn't even like it was the smallest. I wasn't there. I was actually mountain biking somewhere else, and him and Blake went with my dad and Brandon, and they were going, and he literally just like maybe it was like 2 feet, a 2 foot log. He just jumped off and slipped a pedal, but the seat kind of I think hit him up in the inner thigh, and then he just fell over, and then he's like, my leg's broke. And then my dad and Brandon like, are you sure? He's like, it's broken. And they're like, oh, I don't know. Cause when kids say they break something and they're not crying, they're like, okay, it must be sore. But then he's like, it's broke. And then, they thought maybe it was dislocated or something. Went to the hospital and he's like, yeah, he broke his femur clean. And yeah, pretty gnarly. And then he's like, I'm never riding a mountain bike again.
Never ride. He's gonna stick to motocross, a little safer.
He's in moto and pit bike. He'll get back into it. Actually, the other day he was looking at mountain bikes again.
Yeah.
But he's always telling me how he's like, he went to Whistler and he's like, oh, I jumped everything there. And then every time I went with him, like the weekend before, like 2 weeks prior to that, we went mountain biking and he crashed on the smallest thing again and like scratched his face all up and everything. And he's like, I don't even know what, like, I can't catch a break. I fall on the small stuff.
How old is he now?
He's 14. Yeah, he's 14.
I guess apparently I'm getting older too, but craziness. Hey, what
Yeah.
so you mentioned mission track and stuff like that. What are you doing like for your working out now? Like where are you able to ride and stuff?
So I think it was in March, I went to California, came home after a week because of coronavirus. Nothing was open. So I wasn't really riding at all. I was kind of just hanging out. Like there was really nothing. It was pretty crappy weather. Went to this one track, like a sand track. Kind of it's better now, but when we first went there, it was just like super hard on my bike. It was like such deep sand that my dad didn't really want to blow it up because it's just so deep. So we didn't go there. And then Kamloops opened up again in Kelowna, but that's kind of it's like a 3.5 hour drive, and they only let like 20 people ride on the track for like 2 hours. So it was kind of made tough. So we kind of did a couple trips up there, and then we found another sand place. We're there 3 times, and we got kicked out, and they closed the gate, and we're not allowed to go back there. So that sucks. And then I went back to this other sand track, this one, and it's all right, but it's hit or miss with riding. Either I ride like 4 times a week, or I ride once. I rode last Saturday for 30 minutes, and then I left because the sand track we go to it's one of those ones where it's like every weekend warriors there. You got the people in the trucks, quads, dune buggies. So it's like kind of sketchy because I don't want to get hit by anybody. So
are we talking the river there in Chilliwack? Are we talking?
Yeah, or not Chilliwack. It's out by I don't know where it is. It's out near Vancouver. Not like it's like 40 minutes from Vancouver. I don't know where it is, but there's always people out there. So it's been hit or miss with riding, and like the weather's been really weird. It's been pouring rain like every day. Last week it rained every single day. So yeah, I haven't been riding as much as I would like, but trying to ride as much as I can. And when yeah.
Okay, well, hey, I won't keep you too much longer here, of course, but let's talk about this. I mean, it's still June here, late June kind of thing, where racing is going to start up hopefully next month kind of thing. What's your plan for this? Like, let's say everything goes like it's supposed to go. What's your plan?
I'm gonna just I'm obviously I'm gonna do this series, just ride as much as I can, and hopefully, and just come out swinging at Gopher. That's the main that's my plan. Yeah.
I was gonna say you must have checked over the results from the AMO race this past weekend, the pro class. Did you look at that?
Yeah, I looked at them a little bit. There's a lot of riders. I wish we got that many pros out here, but that's a big gate, like full gate pretty much. So pretty cool. Like that Thompson and Wright and that I think it's Tremblay.
Tim Tremblay, yeah.
Like those guys come out, because usually guys like that, they're like, oh, like they're not going to come out because it's just a local race. But it's cool that those guys go out there and race too.
Yeah, for sure. What's this year? What's your travel plan, and who you with, and who's your spot? Who's helping you out?
Whole Shot Motorsports got us a truck and trailer for the summer, so Larry stepped it up, and we'll be in it's like a racing trailer. I haven't really seen it yet. He's getting it delivered to his house like next week, I think, and he's going to be helping us. And me and Parker are going to be doing it together. Parker will be on a Honda. I'll be on Yamaha. We're going to have a pretty cool setup for the summer. So, yeah, it's going to be sweet.
Man, you and Parker Eels, that's going to be a pretty good hairdo combo.
Yeah, definitely.
I always bug him about the hair, and yours is pretty good.
I got a cut.
Oh, yeah.
I got a cut. It was getting too long, so I had to chop it off.
I love bugging him about his head. He's got a helmet for a head of hair.
Yeah, he does.
All right, so you guys will be traveling together. Will your little brother go and do some amateur stuff, or how will that work?
Probably not. Just because I don't know when he can ride again. So
yeah,
he probably just get better and ride out here if he can.
So how old are you? Is it going to be just you and Parker cruising, and your parents flying in? Or?
Me and Parker, and then if anybody wants to help me for a mechanic, let me know, because I don't think my dad can come to all of them. So he'll probably come to like the final race and maybe the first round, but it just depends with just working. Like it's kind of harder because usually he could, like, he never came last year, but this year he could, if it was normal, he would just fly in Saturday, fly out Sunday morning. But now he's got to stay like Sunday because we race Sunday. Then he's got to fly out either Sunday night or Monday morning type of thing. So right. He might not come out, but it's going to be me, Parker. I think Kyle Springman might come out and race.
Of course.
He's not sure. Parker will have his dad, I'm pretty sure, or Springman will help us. So, yeah, good little crew we got.
Ruben, you got to get Ruben. He'll be out there.
Yeah, Ruben will probably be out there for sure.
Well, that's cool. So you're looking for, it's all packed up in here in Ontario. If sure somebody sees this and they're looking to get a hold of you, they can maybe message you on Instagram. There's tons of mechanics floating around these parts.
Yeah, definitely. If you want, it's Tyler Gibbs, 146. Just shoot me a DM. All I need is I just need something to wash the bike and change the filter. That's all you need to be able to do.
Oh, I can do that. Oh, never
just put on the pit board. Just put on the pit board what place I'm in. That's all I need. And yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's cool. Well, why don't we wrap it up there, man? That was again fun to talk with you. I like these things are kind of fun because reading written words is one thing, but being able to see the person and hear the
it's definitely easier. It's definitely more easier to talk about it than like when the last interview was like about the thing with the border. It was so hard to. I'm like I can't.
Like, I know you didn't want to touch it. I know we should have talked about that. Your dad said there's a funny story there, but I guess
yeah, it's pretty. It was pretty gnarly, but I didn't. Okay, so
were there rubber gloves involved?
No, but it was pretty gnarly. I never it was pretty gnarly. Like I'll just tell you, it's not that long, this story. It's just hard to write out. But I go to California in last year, like get ready for Supercross Futures. The guy asked me how long. He pulled me in because what are you like? Because he's like obviously like why how do you have money? That's all he wanted to know is how do I have money? And I told him my mom and dad and I worked. But then he kept asking me, well, are you working in California? I said, no. And he's like, all these questions. I'm like, no. And then he's like, okay, how long are you going for? And I said a month and a half, maybe 2 months. And whatever, I go to California, race Supercross, I come home. 2 weeks later, I go to the US to ride. I go with a bunch of buddies. Don't get hassled. Go home. I go to leave for California. I got Luke with me because I'm taking Luke down early. Get to the border. This guy asked me, how long have you been in when was the last time you were in California? I said, like a week ago. I was there for 2 days. He's like, no. And I'm like, that's the last time I came to the US. He's like, it says here on my thing, you were in California for 3 months, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm like, kind of was like, oh yeah, I was here, that like for that long. He's like, I mean, he did pull in. We go inside the building thing, and this guy said, why did you lie? And I'm like, lie about what? And this guy's telling me, he's like, you got it, like, you can't lie to a border officer. And I'm like, I didn't lie. And he's like, you told the guy you're going to California for a month and a half, but I ended up staying for 3 months. And he thought I was lying about how long I was staying for. And he went through my phone. He went through Luke's phone. He was calling my parents. He was calling Luke's parents. He was calling Kevin. He was just asking. He's like, so he's asking all these questions. He's like, do you work in the U.S.? And because he just wanted to find out how I worked a bunch before going to California, and I had a bunch of cash on me. Just that was what I had to get down there.
Right.
And he's like, how do you get this money? And then he's like, asking me like, why do your parents give you money, and like, so I can stay down there, and all these questions. And he's like, and then he says to me, is there anything on your phone that you don't want me to see that says about you working? If I find anything on your phone that says you work in the US, I'll ban you for 10 years. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I'll be like 28 by the time I can come back to the US. I'm like, no. And he's like, are you sure? And right when he said 10 years, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm might be in trouble here. And then he went through my phone, didn't find anything. Like, there's nothing on there. Like, I'm not working in the US. I just told the guy I'm riding my dirt bike, and he's like, so, but why would you go to just millions of questions about why I want to go to California. I'm like, just to ride. And then he puts on this thing on my passport. It says limited stay. He said I could stay for a month. It's March like 6th. And then he wrote March 6th to March 26th. And I say to the guy,
no,
that's not a month. And the guy goes, he looks at me, and he looks at his badge. He says, you see this right here? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, this is a badge. I can do what I want. Like, he pretty much said, I can do, like, he was just being a jerk. Like, I can tell you what you want to do. And he's like, if you're not back, you're done for 10 years. And I'm like, what? Like, I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
So I ended up coming home because of the whole COVID thing. But in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's going to wreck my whole career, like my whole Supercross career, just because I said I was going to the US for a month and a half. So if you ever go to California, anyone who's riding, just say you're going longer than you think, because they will come back. They'll find out why you were. I'm like, dude, I can show you pictures and everything of what I did. And he's like, next time you come down here, write in a journal what you do every day, then you can show me, and then I'll believe you. I'm like, well, sorry, dude. Like, so yeah, it was pretty.
You're supposed to come home after a month and a half, but then your dad said it was raining or whatever, so stay down there, right? So you just stayed.
Yeah, I didn't do anything. Like, there's nothing wrong with staying for 3 months.
Oh, sure, exactly.
Like, you have to be back within 6 months or whatever. So technically, I didn't do anything wrong. And yeah, the guy just wanted to let me know that he was the boss and he could do whatever he wanted.
Your hair was longer then too, so.
Yeah, and plus I had like me and Luke both had beanies on, and I had like a striped hoodie on, and he probably just thought like, oh, look at these punks going to California, and yeah, but we got it all figured out, and I'm all good. So yeah.
All right. Well, that's good. You always take your sunglasses off. I hope you weren't wearing your sunglasses talking to them.
No, but you have to take a hat off. I always wear a hat when I go across, and I'll never wear a hat again.
No, that helps too.
Yeah.
Just make them think you're showing them respect, and it helps.
Yep. But it was gnarly. I've never been so scared in my life. I'm like, 10 years. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, did you just say 10 years? I was like, holy crap. Yeah. That is crazy.
I cross all the time too to do whatever and stuff like that. And so if I'm passing through to get to BC, I'll just say, I'm just going to cut through the States, cheaper gas, more cities, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, sometimes I'll go, you mean you're asking if you can go through the States? I'm like, oh, sorry, yes. May I please pass through the United States to go? Yeah. It just depends on the person you get.
Plus, it was because the first guy would just ask me, and he said, why are you coming back? Because I literally was home for 3 weeks, not even like a month. And I'm going back down. And he couldn't figure out why I kept going down to California. He's like, so what's in California that you like so much? And I'm trying to explain, dirt bikes. Like, I ride dirt bikes. And he's like, yeah, but the weather's good here, and you can ride dirt bikes here in Canada. So why do you want to ride them in the US? And I'm like, because the dirt bike tracks are better. And then he was just like, okay, go talk to this other guy. And this other guy was just like, oh, he's like, so why do you keep going down? I'm like, I like to ride my dirt bike. He's like, so are you working? And it was all, he just wanted to make sure I wasn't like illegally working down there, which I wasn't. Like all I did was ride my dirt
Oh,
bike.
for sure.
But
But they make you feel guilty. You're not
yeah,
guilty, but you feel guilty.
they just want to make sure I wasn't like, I went for 3 months. I came home for a month. I'm going back down for 2 months. It just looks weird,
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah,
Nice.
that was that.
All right. Yeah, we've all got those stories. I was banned for 2 years one time because I had extra T-shirts in an RV. It was just,
I know it's crazy.
oh, it was horrible. Which, yeah. Anyway, all right. Hey, well, thanks for shooting the breeze with us here, man. What are you doing this weekend?
I'm gonna do some suspension testing, get my stuff set up for the sand. So do that, and then just pretty much get ready for the first round. So I'm super stoked to race. I haven't raced since San Diego Supercross. It's been like 160 days since I've raced. So I'm definitely itching to get back racing for sure.
Oh man, okay. All right, buddy. Well, hey, like I say, thanks for shooting, talking with us here today and stuff. I know you mentioned a few of your sponsors, but do you want to thank a few people before we let you go, or what?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Larry at Whole Shot for getting a truck and trailer for me and Parker to do nationals in. FXR for the gear, 100% goggles, RMR suspension, C4 motors, kind of drawing a blank here. Forma boots. I'm saying a lot. Bell helmets. They hooked it up this year. I'm super stoked wearing their stuff. Renthal, Lime 9. But there's a bunch of other people. The list goes on. Guts Racing for seat covers and all that. But everyone else who helped me make this summer happen.
Nice. Hey, what number is Parker this year?
36.
Is he 450?
450 guy, yeah.
All right, man. Well, hey, say hey to your parents. I always feel like Mark Wahlberg when I say that, but that's a reference you may not get. But he always say, make sure you say hi to your parents. But,
Yeah.
say hey to those guys, and thanks a lot for doing this. And man, we'll see you here roaming the highways and tracks of Ontario next month.
Yes. Thanks for having me on the show.
All right, the show. You got an air quote show.
The show. It feels like a show, an interview.
It does feel like a show. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, but hey, thank you very much. Talk to you soon.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, bye.